This is Valley News Live at noon.
New for you at noon, a Louisiana woman is in custody after a shooting at a South Fargo motel. Officers scrambled to the Motel 6 at 36th Street and 12th Avenue South around midnight after reports of a domestic dispute involving a man and a woman. Police allege 32-year-old Demetria Joseph fired a gun toward a man in the motel hallway but did not hit him. Police say she walked out to the parking lot when police arrived and immediately complied with the officers. Joseph was booked on charges of aggravated reckless endangerment, possession of a stolen firearm, and marijuana possession. There's also a Louisiana arrest warrant on her for a home invasion burglary. Now today might feel pleasant, but the rest of the week is not showing the same thing. Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Well, good afternoon. Let's focus in, first of all, on our pleasant conditions out there, because this isn't, as you mentioned, going to last very long. We're talking 30s and even some 40s out there right now. It's 42 in Jamestown, Sisseton's at 45, Fargo's at 37, and we're at 34 degrees in Grand Forks. So a very mild start to the afternoon. Just a reminder, average high in Fargo for this state, 18 degrees. So a huge difference from that. A look at our radar and satellite map. We do have some areas of blue on the map indicating some snow in the clouds in the eastern viewing area. We may see a few flurries, but that's it. That's departing. We're enjoying a little break here in the heart of the valley from those clouds, but you can see a wall of cloud cover coming our way from the west. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more and show you that you can see that we've got some rain moving into western parts of North Dakota, and that's coming our way for later tonight. And that will be the start of the changes. We're going to see that front move through, and the wind will pick up behind it here as we head into the forecast for tomorrow. So today, though, get out and enjoy this while you can. We've got blue skies. We're looking eastward in Fargo. Temperatures that are going to be into the 30s to some low 40s again here for today, with some partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. It depends on where you are. And then into the afternoon and evening, or further into the afternoon and evening, we'll see those rain chances increase tonight. That will be followed by the wind and then eventually the snow. And that's the concern as we head into the end of the week. But I'll have details on that coming up in your forecast in just a couple of minutes.
We'll also make sure to stay tuned with you to see, of course, what else happens the rest of the week, and enjoy today because it's probably going to be the last pleasant day for a while. Thanks again, Lisa. Well, the United States has executed its first female inmate since 1953, and her crime was similar to one that happened in Fargo. Lisa Montgomery died by lethal injection early this morning after the Supreme Court vacated several lower court rulings. In 2004, Montgomery drove from Kansas to Missouri, where she strangled a pregnant woman, cut the fetus from her womb, and tried to pass the surviving baby off as her own. A Fargo woman is serving life for doing the same thing to Savannah Graywind back in August of 2017. We're witnessing another unprecedented day in American history. The House is meeting right now to determine if President Trump will become the first president to be impeached twice, this time on a charge of inciting an insurrection. Originally, the House wanted the president forced from the House using the 25th Amendment. Vice President Pence refused to do that, citing constitutional concerns. And there are new signals this morning from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell that he may be open to impeachment. Nanny Cordes is in Washington.
There has never been a greater betrayal by a president of the United States. Those are the blistering words from the third-ranking House Republican, Wyoming's Liz Cheney, who says she will vote today to impeach President Trump. She'll be joined by at least 4 other Republicans, including John Katko of New York.
To allow the President of the United States to incite this attack without consequences is a direct threat to the future of this democracy.
The House is set to pass one article of impeachment, incitement of insurrection, arguing President Trump encouraged his supporters to obstruct the electoral count and the peaceful transition of power, adding that his actions resulted in the terrorist attack that occurred last week. Nor did he swiftly denounce the violence. Last night, House Democrats made a final and ultimately unsuccessful attempt to urge the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Never before has the president sought to overturn a fair and secure election.
The president's actions demonstrate his absolute inability to discharge the most basic and fundamental powers and duties of his office. Therefore, the president must be removed from office immediately.
Many in the president's party will vote against impeachment again.
Everybody in this country knows that they wanted to impeach President Trump on his first day in office. It looks like they're going to want to impeach him on his last day, too.
They're going to do impeachment. They're going to do it again They've been obsessed with it.
The president is arguing the same.
The impeachment hoax is a continuation of the greatest and most vicious witch hunt in the history of our country.
In Texas yesterday, he took no responsibility and claimed there was nothing wrong with the speech he gave just before his supporters stormed the Capitol.
It's been analyzed, and people thought that what I said was totally appropriate.
But today's impeachment, with its high-level Republican support, suggests otherwise.
Nancy Cordes, CBS News, Washington.
Security is ramping up inside our nation's capital. You can see hundreds of National Guardsmen sleeping on the floor of the U.S. Capitol building this morning. Troopers cradled their weapons overnight to ensure the safety of Congress after last week's deadly riots. The head of the National Guard says at least 10,000 troops will be deployed to D.C. to provide support for President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. The international advocacy group Human Rights Watch says as President Joe Biden should revamp U.S. human rights policy. In a teleconference from Geneva, Switzerland, the advocacy group's leader said Biden should bring fundamental change to U.S. policy on human rights. Now, Executive Director
Donald Trump was a disaster for human rights. His flouting of human rights at home and his embrace of friendly autocrats around the world severely eroded U.S. credibility on human rights.
Roth said the Biden administration should decry past policies like George W. Bush's war on terror, as well as intensified drone strikes and surveillance under Barack Obama. Fargo Public Health has announced a tentative timeline for the next phase of COVID-19 vaccine distribution. The health department expects to begin vaccinating people in Priority Group 1B the week of January 18th. This tier includes older individuals and those with underlying health conditions. For more information on the COVID distribution timeline, you can download our free VNO News app and search this story. And the full story details can be viewed starting in our 4 p.m. show. Make sure you tune in. Well, a bill that would prohibit a governor from giving cash or endorsing a member of the legislature is getting good reception from both GOP and Democratic leaders. The legislation comes after GOP Governor Doug Burgum contributed millions of dollars to several candidates in elections last year in an attempt to remove some incumbents from his own party. The bill's sponsor says Burgum crossed the separation of powers line by reaching deep into his own pockets to buy a legislator more belonging to his wishes. Legislative leaders say the contributions are freedom of speech. Now, consumer prices jumped in December. That tops our look at consumer news. The Labor Department says consumer prices rose nearly half a percentage point in December, led by a sharp rise in gas prices. It was the largest increase in 4 months. Gas prices surged more than 8%, but remain well below what drivers were paying last year. Inflation for all of 2020 rose a modest 1.4%, well below the Federal Reserve's target of 2%. That likely means the Fed will not raise interest rates for the foreseeable future. Well, coming up at noon, we learn more about one animal that may help you dispose of your leftover holiday items. And weather doesn't seem to want to stay pleasant for very long. The full details up next with meteorologist Lisa Green.